Welcome. Just starting live. It is going out to the different platforms at this moment. So just come on in. All right, looks like we are live on one of the platforms. So as you guys get the notifications, or as you kind of see, if you're kind of peeking from the outside of the Facebook event, come on in. Today we're going to be doing Akashic channel messages. You're going to want to come in to be able to ask a question. I'll be starting off with collective messages, just kind of get the energy flowing and get it going. But come on in. I'm waiting for one of the other platforms to go live. Still waiting a little bit. It looks like we're still waiting for YouTube. So come on in. We will be doing Akashic messages. So just feeling into the energy as we are stepping into eclipse season. It is definitely been, the energy has definitely been a bit, I think. Last night I had some weird dreams. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. So let me know, type in the chat if you have been having some let's just say if you've been remembering your dreams more. I feel like this eclipse season has kind of been bringing in some and intense energy, some opportunities to shift. But with that, my dreams have been a little. They've been a lot the last, I think, 2 nights only. So let me know how your dreams are going. Pop that in the chat. Maybe it's just me, but I always like to get a pulse out there. But feel free to type something in the chat to let me know where you're from. I'll be doing Akashic channeled messages today. So if you do have a question, pop it in. I'll be starting off with some collective messages first. And we'll be going back and forth between that. And if there's any kind of energy healing, kind of helping to move any energy within kind of the collective, whoever's watching this now, whoever's watching this back on repeat. So if you are watching this back on repeat, this is on, I think it's September 17th that we went live. So welcome, come on in. We are finally, I was just waiting for like one more platform to go live because I'm on a couple different platforms. And so we just went live on YouTube. So thank you. Feel free to kind of hit the like buttons, or if you're like, I don't know who this person is and why they popped, give me a follow and subscribe. We'll be doing some messages today. So let me, I'm just going to tap into the Akashic field here and just kind of feel what is coming. Just feel what's coming in for the collective. Anyone who's watching this now or on repeats. And then if it resonates with you, let me know, pop it in the chat. If you have any specific guidance, anything that you're kind of looking to move through, if you feel like you've been stuck or things have been coming back, this is a very powerful time for releasing. So during eclipse season, and especially we have our lunar and solar eclipse, and I'm not an astrologist, so don't take my word for it, but I know endings and beginnings. This is a powerful time for that. And depending on where they're hitting in your chart, it could sometimes feel like we're holding on to something that, kind of just ended out of the blue, but it just kind of aligning us with something that's more connected to our true self. So last eclipse season, the next day, so it was in the evening that I had that the eclipse started. The next day, my corporate job was ended. They eliminated my corporate job, and so I decided to step fully into my spiritual business. So endings and beginnings, right? And as there are endings. It's really kind of transformational time. It's what is it that is coming up for us that that'll help us to ease more into the beginnings, to create the beginnings, essentially. And so I'm feeling a bit, for this collective energy, I'm just feeling a bit connected to, the way I'm seeing it, the way that they're showing the messages come through is kind of like someone's holding on to, kind of a pole or a tree, and just kind of, I'm hearing about connecting and grounding your energy a bit more would be helpful, because when we're in a space of a lot of collective shift in general, there's so many shifts happening, for the collective and other people, and as we're empathic, we can definitely feel that, as our own energy shifting, as the planets are shifting and kind of moving, within our, specific houses, we could feel a lot of thoughts coming. This is a big time where a lot of subconscious and unconscious energy pops up, and it's like, hello, how are you doing? You didn't, this wasn't at the forefront of your mind, yesterday or a few weeks ago, but there's a lot of things that can kind of come up in this time. So allowing ourselves to acknowledge what's coming up and be aware of what's coming up in this time is so important. I keep hearing about connection to worth. Hey Mason, how are you doing? Feel free to hit that subscribe button, and so this way you'll get notifications on other, lives that I do. And oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. Um, well, let me finish a little bit of this collective reading. Give me about another 3 minutes, and I will send some energy healing. I will do some energy healing. I'll have the sound bowl out, and we'll send some energy to you collectively. Um, so let me just go back into kind of finish this collective. So, what I am hearing about the collective is going in and looking at your worth, looking at your value, and coming into your heart space when you do that. Because when we are in thought, and not to say we can't bring any thoughts into this, but a lot of what's coming up for the collective is some subconscious thoughts connected to previous stories from other people, from society, generations, family, ancestral kind of passed down. There's a bit that's coming up for this collective in the next few weeks, between now and the next few weeks. And so allowing us to see what's coming up, to see that these are old stories, that this is not even our story or our truth, allowing us to recognize that and acknowledge it and give it a voice, and then step into and say, hey, you know what, that's not ours, let's release it. Step into who we are, bringing more of that confidence and worth to the forefront of who we truly are, which is divinely perfect beings, and allowing that to come to fruition. And so that's a big piece that I'm hearing about the collective here. I can go back to a little bit more of the collective, but I am feeling, I'm definitely feeling a pull to do some energy healing. So if you are still here, Mason, I first want to ask that. And if you're still here, then I'm definitely going to do some energy healing. So just drop a note in there. We'll send an intention, a collective intention as well. Yeah, just going to wait a sec before I start. Give you a chance to just kind of respond here. I don't think it's delayed either, so just say hey. Okay. I'm getting my bowl out, and if you're not, it's all good. What I am gonna do is I will I'll just kind of go ahead and send some energy to the collective, or if you're just kind of like, you just kind of want to be. So everyone just kind of close your eyes and just start to connect to your heart space. Just connect to that heart space now. And just start to invite in anything, any receiving of any higher abundance. And just allow that to flow through your heart space as we move this energy. And just start to focus on your heart coming back into your body. Just slowly bring some awareness back into the room. And when you're ready, you can kind of stretch and come on back to the room. So hopefully you guys could feel some of that energy moving through. That was just kind of a little mini, very, very mini energy boost and kind of activation. And so come on back. Hopefully you guys feel free to kind of give so many hearts or likes on the platform and subscribe to my channel. I also have a giveaway going on here. So if you can just pop that up, you have a chance to win Akashic readings, healings, attunements. So make sure to tune in and go to my website after. If you're on your mobile, you want to go in after. Sign up. And yeah, you have a chance to kind of work with me and kind of get to know me in a deeper level. So I'll go into some more collective. If you guys have anything that you want to type in, anything that resonates with you, any questions, anything that you want to share, feel free to share that as I kind of just tap into the collective here. You know what I'm feeling right now? I'm just feeling a little bit in the heart space. So if you guys are, if you're feeling any connection to any anxiety on what may come in the future, it's hard for anyone to sit up in a space and say, um, you know, love and light, right? That's not the spiritual teacher that I am. But what I do practice is when we are in that space of anxiety and worry and in the space of thinking about how things may unfold, I start to go into a present moment. I start to go into mindfulness. I start to go into all of my senses. So if I have kind of like a tea, something I can taste, smell, what am I feeling? What am I seeing? What am I hearing? And get into this present moment. And, a lot of times I work with as well color frequency as well. That'll kind of come in and just kind of clear my space. So I've kind of like programmed my brain. So white is a frequency of clearing. It's a very clearing energy and color. And so I would kind of go into like a meditation and kind of review and visualize and have white come in. And now when I'm in spaces, when I see white, I kind of just know that things are moving through and things are clearing for me. So getting very present into this present moment allows us to step into the action for tomorrow in a more connected way. So if I'm coming from anxiety and I'm making my steps and my actions from that space, I could do things that would I could essentially do things that would align with that anxiety, right? So if I'm, nervous about something or unsure known, and maybe sometimes I kind of procrastinate when I'm in that mindset, I might do that. And so my next day is going to be affected by that, right? So if I get into this space of like connection and alignment and moving more into present, and it does take practice, right? Like if we're used to for decades, this is how we're thinking and this is how we typically react, we're creating a change by doing it as often as we can and stepping into that to create these neural pathways, to create something new, a new behavior. And it takes a couple weeks for that behavior to kind of set in and for that to be embodied as kind of like a more of our reaction. So that's one thing that I would say is like, I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't take that effort and that we can just say, hey, I'm not going to think about the future and everything's all good and dandy. It does take a little bit to kind of create that new pattern and bridge and stop that loop from going into what if this, right? The more I'm in this present moment, the more that I'm stepping into this now, the more that I'm experiencing maybe even more joy, right? If I'm worried about something in that in the future, the joy that I could be experiencing with my friend in this very moment could be kind of sideswiped, right? So what I'm seeing, what I'm visually seeing is kind of like a group of friends around a table, and I'm just seeing someone kind of stare off this way. And I'm feeling that connection to that heart kind of buzzing a little bit with some nervous energy. And so that's kind of the sway of this conversation or this message coming through really is to be more present as much as we can and stepping into who we are within that. Because sometimes when I'm in a space of, okay, I'm learning that I actually don't like this. I don't like this aspect. I thought I liked doing this thing, and I'm more present. I actually find out more about myself, and I realize, oh, you know what? I've just been doing this to kind of appease someone else, or this is something that I learned to do and I was good at, and I actually don't really enjoy it. And that's what I've learned about with being more and more present is that there were certain things that I was doing and acting on, and I didn't even enjoy it. So my big journey and my healing journey and my spiritual journey was connecting to what does it mean to be connected to myself? Like, what does that even mean? And what do I even like? What does this physical body, this person here like, and not because someone said I was good at it or I felt I was good at it. It's truly connecting and taking that one step at a time. So I'm not sure if this is resonating with anyone here, but and it could be some people too that are watching this back on the replay that this kind of resonates, but it's really stepping into that alignment. And this time, uh, I I feel a connection to people that are here during this eclipse season. There's going to be a lot of shadows that come up that are kind of revealing, hey, this isn't who you are. So in these times when we see things that are coming up that we don't like, that maybe makes us a little anxious or nervous, or like kind of repeat patterns coming back around, this is this time where we can pivot, right? Where we could be more aware of this energy, because it might feel more intense. So now we can't ignore it. And this is the opportunity time to shift out of that and to step into more into alignment within ourselves. And the more that we do that, the more that we can really bridge and co-create what's coming next for us, whatever that may be. Yeah, so that's so far what I'm feeling so far. I'm going to take a little sip of water if you guys don't mind. I know we have a few people in from some of the platforms, so feel free. Subscribe and follow my pages. Hit the like button here. Let's see if we can get more people in here, more collective energy, more support here. I would appreciate that. So, and if it resonates, let me know. Drop a comment in the chat, or let me know where you're from too. I love that. I had someone on from, like, I'm in the US in Arizona, and I had someone from, I don't know if they were like from Scotland last week. I was like, this is cool. So, but wherever you're from. All right. All right. I'm not seeing any comments here. You guys are a little shy. But it's all good. It's all good. I can just kind of keep flowing with it. So feel free. I have the prompt up. So if you have any questions, it might not even be a personal question. So I'm in what's called Akashic my Akashic Enlightenment. So I'm in my Akashic Records, which is a fifth dimensional space, consciousness, and connection to everything that I've experienced. But I'm also working with the Book of Truth. So if there are any laws of the universe or connection to understanding the physical world around us, this is a good time to kind of tap into that. I had someone the other day who just wanted to connect more to the nature of reality. And I remember half of what I said, but half of what I did say, was pretty awesome. And so it's this connection to higher knowledge, and all of this knowledge is all available within us. The more that I connected to clearing out my traumas and clearing out my emotions that were keeping me in patterns, right, that I wasn't really feeling or acknowledging them. I was just creating a life based on these suppressed emotions or traumas. And the more that I cleared that out, the more that I saw that my channel would become clearer. So my connection to all of my innate, like, we're all innately connected, and we all have this within us. It's sometimes even connected to, like, for me, and this is coming back around again, maybe for a reason, but for me in the beginning, there was a lot connected to confidence and self-worth, where I was like, why me? Right? Like, why do I have this information? Oh, why, what is it about me? And kind of that about worth. And in reality, it has nothing, it doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm connecting to channel information for someone else for their highest good. And if we're looking at anything that's connected to my own intuition in my life and all of that, that's all innately within us. So that is all, we're all deserving of that knowledge. And there's no gatekeeping, right? A spiritual teacher or any gurus or, and such out there, they don't have secret keys that we don't have. We all have that. It's about stepping into and moving out what's in our way of seeing and hearing and believing in what's coming through, or even in connecting more. So the more that I move through in my journey, and working within Akashic enlightenment and helping to clear out and building out higher consciousness hallways, because I was clearing out, the more that the channel was clear. And I started channeling pretty soon after, not too far after I started my psychic and mediumship development journey. So, and that's important when we are connecting to our intuition, or if we're working with others to kind of practice, we are seeing mirrors. We are seeing live mirrors in that moment, and there's a vibration there. There's something that we could be tapping into from that person that we are reading that now is like coming up into our conscious awareness. And there could be some things that feel very relatable to us. So when we are in this journey, if we're developing that aspect, or if we're interested in developing all the chakras, right? The third eye, that's intuition, the crown, that connection. All the other chakras are just as important in the journey, because if I am seeing a trauma come up in the reading, I could unconsciously be reacting or projecting something and not truly seeing the person and who they are and their situation. So that was very important earlier on in my journey to kind of really, I would go in every day for myself. I would go in every day. Before I started reading for other people, I was going in, I don't know if it was like 6 months, every day for myself, and clearing out and working on my own personal development and clearing out those other chakras. So I would really, when I started practicing with other people, there were a lot of traumas that I had gone through. And there was a lot of very similar things. And I, have a mentor, and it would kind of be check-ins to kind of see what coming up and to help move any of that energy forward. And it's always a personal development, always about moving out what's there. I also realized I had some health issues that were connected to some of the suppressed traumas and emotions that mysteriously went away. And it wasn't anything too major. Or at least that I thought was major. I'd have some sometimes back issues, and I don't know where that was from. And that went away once I started really doing the work. And there was a lot of trauma or emotions that I was kind of holding in that back. I also, what kind of started my spiritual journey was, I have PTSD from some trauma that I was going through. And so I realized in my spiritual journey that I always had this nervous system that actually was kind of in that fight or flight. Though at the time I was in a space of, okay, I'm having issues with actually living my day to day. So that was the extreme. But I was actually living with a fight or flight before then, and just doing my everyday and being in the everyday. And so the more that I worked within that, I realized that, okay, there was more to really, really work on and dive deep. And that went away. I was having flashbacks, and a lot of other things, and all of that kind of went away. So if there's, there could be a reason why some of this is coming up too. It's just kind of flowing out. But if there's any health, anything that's connected, I'm not a doctor, but from my experience, I have seen opportunities where things have moved, the energy has moved as things have come up in the sessions. And I had someone who they would have like numbness in their hands and they would have it every day. And they had a session with me, and it was a couple weeks later they gave me some feedback and said that it went away. Whatever came up in the session, I was feeling that her numbness in the hands, and it was connected to this whatever came up. If it was trauma, if it was emotions, it was all connected to that aspect that came up. It had a voice. The energy allowed it to kind of move and be released, and that connection to whatever it was. A lot of people can ask, they may ask, what's the block to my abundance? Why am I not, proceeding in this path? Like what's stuck there? And so sometimes it could be connected unknowingly to like physical ailments. And so that's something to kind of be conscious of, is as we have things in our body, listening to our body, listening to what is it saying, and how's it portraying any unconscious emotions or traumas, and how is that displaying in the physical reality? And in that manner, how deep is it? Because as I started to unravel my own journey, I started to realize, okay, I have some deep seated creations on my reality and my world, where I've created situations to validate mindset. Right. This is a simple one. I started my business initially, and I kind of had some little distractions doing kind of little things that weren't really moving the needle, but I was working through a lot of my self-worth. Right. So as I moved through that, and I moved through that energy, and I saw where's the root of this mindset, and allow that to move through, I really stepped into a space of putting myself out there in a very big way. And then before I knew it, my my corporate job was eliminated, and I fully into my business, and I just said yes, right? And the universe provided. So it's really about getting to the root of what is happening within the body. And again, not a doctor, not everything's related to that, but that's just my experience from so far, from what I've seen with people who may ask about things, or even if they don't ask about health, but they ask about why am I blocked, or why do I feel stuck with my abundance? And there could be some things related there to moving forward. I'll just kind of bring this through because I feel like there might be a collective that this relates to. But I know I started working on my sexual energy, and working with my life force, and connecting to all of those chakras within. And for me, there was definitely a lot of stuck energy. I had some traumas connected to sexual traumas. And so as I just kind of move through those aspects and allow things to kind of come up, right? I actually saw more clients coming in. I saw more clients that started coming, actually, that I was working on it for a while, but I started working on it in a somatic way, and breath work, and working within my Akashic enlightenment. And within a few days, I have four new clients. So I don't say it as just like hey, this could happen. Usually, there's a connection to my experience, and then just kind of what's coming through and what's channeling through. And so that there was definitely some opportunities for me to create this new way of being in alignment, connection with all of me, all of my bodies, feeling into all the emotions. so knowing that if you stuck in somewhere in your life, looking at where is it coming from and stepping into that alignment and building that confidence. There's so much I'm hearing around confidence with this collective. And so if you are in a space of if you're in a space of you're not happy in your job, but maybe you don't know what it is yet that you would be happy doing, where you feel like you could build something sustainable and pay the bills. There's something about confidence that wants to come through, and like the universe is and will support you. It's kind of taking those steps right into this. Hey, where is my journey going? Where is my alignment? And let me feel in that. And the more that you do that, the more that you'll unfold and step into that. And maybe a couple baby steps or small steps at first. But you can step into it and move it as you want. But it's acknowledging and having that come through. So I'm not sure if this is resonating. I know we have a couple people popping in. I'm just doing some collective channeled messages coming through, and I feel like there's so much connected to people stepping into their alignment and who they are, and like their business and what they do to make money is, or even their connect to their purpose. Maybe you're just like in a space where you're retiring or you're retired, but what do I do to feel that purpose and to feel connected to that? And so there's just so much coming in to really start to unravel and dismantle old beliefs. And like I keep hearing, like, how do I do that? How do I do that? Right? You can do what wants to come through is you can do shadow work. And if you're not familiar with shadow work is simply this light, this awareness, this more conscious and intentional awareness to aspects of us that we may have suppressed, right? Maybe it's a little bit, and that's why people call it shadow work, right? It's kind of like maybe off to the side. It's not in that conscious awareness. And so you can go back simply to like the beginning of whenever you can remember, and anything that's bothered you, anything that has come up that may not even seem like, oh, like that doesn't seem like that would have really bothered me. A lot of times we learn behaviors on suppressing emotions to situations, from family, from society, from, school. And so this is the time to revisit and see it and give it a voice, and then allow ourselves to really step into our true self now that we've released that. So you can go into the beginning of whenever something may have bothered you. For some reason, I'm hearing about, I don't know if there's been any bullying or anything with school. And I'm just kind of seeing kids and feeling kind of a little bit alone, and just kind of feeling a little bit of nervous energy with that too. So just go back in a space where you can set some candles and some intention on love, and bringing in love into your space, and revisiting some of those things, revisiting and saying, okay, I'm going to relook at this situation. And you can even rewrite it with a different story, right? I mean, we are creating our story and our path today by how we react to certain things and how we're holding us today. So as we revisit some of these old past traumas or old situations that we didn't think was maybe that we were holding on to, and allowing ourselves to see that. One of the things that I'm hearing about for this collective is like being seen. Okay, so maybe that's why some of this has come up with a little bit of like bullying. And as we step into, if you're looking to step into like your purpose and your business and step into that, sometimes it's being seen and that nervous system around that, right? And that aspect within us that is a little bit, um, you know, we may shy away from. And where is that coming, right? So there could be something there that's a little bit deeper to kind of move through, and allowing that to move forward. And then as we do, our nervous system becomes more and more not opposite of fight or flight when we are around more and more people. And as we are putting ourselves out there, that's just as important too. It's the energy of our business, it's the energy of you know, who we are and where we're going and our purpose. But that's part of it. And if we're going on to like platforms, or if we're throwing events, if our aspect of our nervous system is a little bit in fight or flight with being seen, dive deeper into that subconscious. Go through all those aspects that maybe we felt wasn't really impacting, and just go through it. You know, it doesn't hurt. And as you kind of navigate those situations, you can allow those shadows to become more into the conscious awareness and allow that release to happen. And now stepping into that purpose and that alignment fully, and believing in that and having the confidence, is being seen isn't an issue anymore. Now it's about you and your purpose, right? It's not that subconscious energy, which is holding on to your actions, which is what a lot of our day-to-day really is. A lot of our day-to-day is our subconscious is acting out, and playing out our situations and creating our reality. So allowing that to that conscious awareness, to not act from that subconscious awareness, and now bring that into the forefront, and now taking kind of control of what's in that way, and giving voice and moving through it. And now you may see more people in your events, more connected to going after your purpose and stepping into that, more connected to stepping into your business full time. You know, I at least saw that for me, for my own personal experience, and just getting more online presence, more connection to working with other people, and more clients, and more people kind of surrounding me, and opportunities to work with them. So keep that in mind. That's coming up for a reason. So I don't know where the collective is, who's kind of watching this, where you're at, and if you feel like you're not happy with what you're doing, or you're like, I want to connect more to my purpose, how do I do that? Hopefully this is resonating, right? So these are just kind of channeled messages coming through, and just connecting to whoever is here. And feel free to drop in if you have a question, if you feel like you're feeling stuck somewhere, or you just have a general question. I'm doing a collective, but anytime you have a question, just pop that down into the chat, and I can kind of tap in to see, how, give guidance and any help. Definitely subscribe to my channels, and hit that follow button and subscribe if you're liking what you're hearing. And I do personal Akashic messages. So usually in a group setting, I am connected to my Akashic, but in a group setting, it won't pull in anything that is too personal, right? That's at least the intention I have. I have an intention of, this is a group setting, and if you are looking for guidance, there will be a lot of important insights that come up, but it also will be safe. It'll be a space where it may tap into some general aspects, because I'm also a psychic medium and I can tap into the field, but I'm not in your Akashic records. So it's not going to be, a lot of my sessions are very specific to like a certain child, a certain age group, or anything like that. So yeah, that's an awesome question. Welcome. If you guys are new here, hit that follow and subscribe button. And then I also have, I'm going to answer that question. I also have my giveaway. So just like to pop that up every now and then. Feel free afterwards, or whenever, go onto my site, enter my giveaway, and you can win some cool stuff, some readings and attunements. So check it out. So suggestions for connecting to spirit guides. Yes, good question. Let me just kind of tap in here. There's a lot that wants to come through. So just connecting more to spirit guides. What I'm hearing is, and what's like coming through is validating. I'm hearing about validating. I'm hearing about like some of the collective, and this could even be for you too, like that you are already connecting to your guide. It's kind of like, what I'm hearing is, it might not be coming in like the form that you usually maybe have things come in. Right, we have all these different clairs. We can see, right, clairvoyance, hear, feel. There's a big connection with what I'm seeing is, I'm hearing about being more mindful, getting more present. So in general, we can connect to our spirit guides in many facets. We do it just right now. We can ask a question. What I did initially was, I had an oracle deck, and I started to ask a question, and I would just pull a card, and I would do that every day, and I would just say, okay, what message do you have me? So setting that intention, just an intention in itself, is definitely an important aspect. And I say, okay, well, what message do you have for me today? And I would just kind of see that, and I would pull that up, and I would say, okay, let me just kind of dive in a little bit deeper, and I would just kind of connect in with that energy. Now, what I would also do is, there's an exercise, actually. It's very quick, so we can actually do that now. So just with me, just kind of close your eyes and just start to visualize roots at the bottom of your feet. Just allow that excess energy to flow down into the roots, into the ground. And just allow yourself to connect to that heart space there. Just allow that energy to flow through. And just connect to your energy. Okay? No intention on healing. Just connect to you and who you are. And just sit with this with me. Give it about 30 seconds to just sit in your energy. And as you're recognizing your energy, now we're going to call on an intention to bring our guides forward. We're calling on our guides to give us some sort of calling card, some way that we know it's them. We may feel maybe a touch on the shoulder, a touch on the forehead. You may hear something. They may you may hear it in your head. So just allow them to come forward. Just give it a few more moments here. You can ask their name, or what they want you to call them, whatever comes out. And just know that you can come back to this space as well anytime. So just bring more conscious awareness to the room. And just come back to the room. So that's just kind of a little, just a very mini exercise. What I suggest is getting into sitting in the power, which is your energy. I'm sitting in that more and more and more, and recognizing what is your energy, so that you can discern when it's someone else's energy, right? When it's spirit's energy, when it's a loved one. And so then what I would usually do is I would usually have myself sitting in the power, and then I would call in, setting an intention in with my guides and saying, okay, I want to know your presence. Let me know. Right. So for me, I started to feel like pressure on my third eye, and I started to connect to who it was. Eventually, it didn't happen all right away, but it's just in that moment to like kind of validate that you are receiving, right? And so that was very mini. So you may want to extend it. You may want to sit in the power and sit in your energy for like 3 minutes. And then I have like a buzzy, I mean, I come back. I usually have something if I have a certain time frame, but if not, I just say, okay, just for a few minutes you want to sit in your energy. So you do, and then once you start to come and bring awareness back, you call in your guides, and you start to ask, right, those questions. How do I know it's you? And that validation and that understanding and that discernment to now, like, okay, this is actually my guides, and we are connecting. Maybe it's not what I initially want. Maybe it's not, like, maybe I want message. So I would always in the beginning throw in the old cards, and I would also ask. I would be in a state of asking as well. Okay, well, like, now I know I'm connecting with them. Now what is message? And so I would kind of, sometimes I would start to see, I had thoughts that would come in my head, and I would kind of invalidate them, but then I would like pull a card and it would like be exactly really kind of what I was feeling. And so that validation on its own was like, okay, I'm connecting. These are guides, right? Like, these are a different aspect of my own energy at this point in time. So just allowing that practice. I did it daily. I would also write down as well, so that I would see in my entry for the day. I would kind of say, okay, this is a date, right? This is I would always put to where that kind of came down. So if I was a number there or a deck, because I had like a million decks for some reason. And I would just I would just really tap into, write down like a brief, like, this is what the message that I was getting. And I don't recommend to look in the book for message. You can as well if you do want to, but I always say, like, to build your intuition, you want to come from like a different side of the brain. Once you start reading something, you're bringing in like that other side of the brain and your logic. So just whatever comes through, and allow that to really kind of build. You build that practice every day, and or you know what, you could have like ear ringing, and then I would still be like, all right, well, I know these guides, and I would pull a card. Well, what is the message? And I would have my ear ringing multiple times throughout the day, and I would, okay, well, let me go get my cards. And what's the message for that moment? Like, what are they trying to bring forward? Another thing that I want to mention when this is connecting to guides and like connection in general, and I don't know when you came in, if you were here before, and so maybe that was part of what was coming, might have been connected to you, but there is an aspect of there's a lot of like subconscious energy that's impacting like our thoughts, right? So the words or things that kind of keep coming up is like validating, like, what is it about this aspect that am I invalidating it, right? There's something about like invalidating the messages that are coming through, and kind of looking at maybe where that comes from. Diving in a little bit deeper, I was talking about shadow work and, um, and being seen or things like that. And so just kind of going a little bit deeper to kind of move through some of that energy that kind of can be the way that I see it is I see kind of an energetic wall, and I see um, I kind of see one person on it, and I see an energetic wall of like thoughts, kind of like thoughts that are here, and then like here's the end goal. So just kind of, it may be a little bit deeper. The words that are coming through are confidence and validation. So that might be something to kind of look at on a grander scale. But and I know I'm starting to flow off. So hopefully that helped with the guides and connecting. And it's uh it's daily practice. Daily practice. I also had one day of the week, and I still do, where I will, and some people do it daily, where they'll have like a check-in, and it's like an intention on like, all right, well, here's the boardroom, guys. What are we going to talk about today? And allow just like however long, 10-15 minutes to sit in that, and just to be in that and having that intention. So yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that that was helpful. So, there's so much about connecting. I could be here I could be here all day with that topic. It's something it's something that, we look and we sometimes can like seek for that aspect of connecting. And some of the message that lately is about like how we're connecting within, right? Like, how are we connecting within ourselves? And the more that we're connecting into that present moment, and a bit about what I do teach and what comes through is a lot about mindfulness and being in the present moment. And when we're in the present moment and we're connecting with ourselves, there's nothing in the way, and sky's the limit, right? So how do we get to that phase where we are connecting to like the external, right? How are we connecting to guides? How are we connecting to higher dimensional beings? How are we connecting to loved ones? Like, how are we doing all of that? And if I can't discern my own energy and who I am, that could be a big step in the process. But I've been getting this message for a couple months on just continuing to connect within, and continue to understand who I am, like me, just myself. This could be other people that I'm working with as well, but connecting to who I truly am and unwiring like all of the outside mess kind of flying my way. Stuff that's not really even really important, and diving into that, going into that depth could really unravel some beautiful, deep presence that I didn't even know was there. So it's really this chance to get to know who we are inside and out. And some people may find that kind of too like not silly, but like how do I not know who I am, right? Like, how do you not know? Well, I think it's very possible. I think we live in acts from so much ancestral and generational mindsets and traumas that are passed down, and it just becomes kind of like my day-to-day routine. The big message I was getting that wants to come through now is about time. Okay, so if you're in the spiritual space and you're still here, we're gonna talk about time for a little bit. I was getting last year, end of last year, I was still in a full-time corporate job, and I was getting big messages about linear time and the illusion of time, and how we create this limitation on time. And I kept hearing about I was getting messages on um, don't limit yourselves. Don't say, oh, time's going by so fast. Oh, this is this. Like, just allow yourself to be more and more present was the message that I was getting for me. And so, it's actually pretty important because we can be very limiting on even manifesting, even like, oh, we want this here now, right? But we have trained our brains on time and linear time. And now we think that X is going to take this amount of time. And we create that reality, that belief. So I kept on hearing, get out of linear time, get out of linear time. And all of a sudden, when it flowed into, I was, there were some things with my corporate job. I wanted them to eliminate my job, and I first didn't think it was possible in the way that it was going to happen, and I just kept saying it's going to happen this way, right? And I kept focusing on that. I kept focusing on that. I wasn't focused on 6 months or a year and 3 years. I mean, there were plenty. I had a lot of readings before then that was like, in 3 years from then, I was going to be doing it full time. And so a lot of that, I I took that out, those limitations, and I said, okay, I'm just focused here on I'm just focused here on this present moment and this feeling. And the manifestation came to fruition. But when it did, a side note was I kept hearing more messages about getting out of linear time. So the first like month, there was a lot of healing. I mean, there was a lot of healing for several months after that, out of a corporate job and out of the confines of uh, corporate job. And so the message I was getting was to get out of linear time, was to be in flow in my day, to wake up, and if I felt like dancing, if I felt like dancing or whatever, go ahead and put on some music and move to that flow and not be on that schedule. And I was very fortunate enough to be in the space where I could do that. But it's getting out of that linear time, which has kind of helped me to even move through and heal through things that I thought that, you think, oh, this is going to take X amount of time, right? Getting out of that mindset of like, this is what's possible, and allowing that expansiveness and understanding of time being kind of very actually restricted from our day to day and the things that we are told that it has to be. Now I get that there may have to be a little bit of time when you do human things, like when you have appointments, or like you have to be somewhere, or you have your full time, and you're still in kind of that office environment, and you're like, okay, this is right, that's part of it, that time. I totally get it. So this is an opportunity. I was in that space too, and I took it as an opportunity to rewire and look at this expansiveness at the capacity that I could do it at. And then I believe that allowed things to flow and move through much easier and much quicker, and allow things happen in a quicker capacity. And then, you know, um, right, dive into a different zone with time. This illusion. um yeah, okay. You've been in the same situation since December 2023, exiting the corporate job, but still feeling stuck. Yeah. Um, you know, um, I do believe it takes a little bit, speaking of time, I believe that all of the time between exiting that that corporate space into now, give yourself some grace on healing, because I don't know about you, but in my corporate career, there were some harsh realities or things that I experienced, right? And I needed to kind of move through some of that and allow forgiveness and unwire that. And right, it comes down to like, what is in our subconscious mind, what's in the unconscious mind, and like how do we move through that, right? So there's a bit, depending on how long that we're in that space, and when we move into, or when we start to move into alignment, or when the universe moves us moves us into a different space, right? This is a period where we can review some of the things that may have happened and allow us to move through. Um, and it could be around people, right? Maybe there could be, like, for me, I was traveling, but I was always in like kind of a position, not always, a lot of positions I was in when I was in like kind of a higher rank in the company, so to speak. And I knew about, I would know about some things that I really probably should have known about. And I was in spaces as being a woman as well. I would just say that as well, being a woman. Um, in in the corporate field, and at least where I was, with a lot of the men that I was around, there was a lot of toxic men, and it was just a lot of BS that happened. So there's a lot of things to kind of unpack, because now you're like, if you're stepping into, which I know, I know a little bit about what you do, but when you're stepping into something different, it's like, how do we not take that with us? So yeah, same here. Needed some healing from trauma and to acknowledge and forgive. Yeah, I believe it. I believe that there is a certain amount of, like, for me, I believe like 3 to 6 months was what was on the docket for me to really not move quick, move at a pace where I could really go in and acknowledge and feel and forgive. And then as I did that, I was also going back to other things not related to corporate work. So there are other things too that'll come up, that like, it's like the more that we unload and unburden ourselves from, the more then that we can now bring up from other things. And so there's been so much for me that has come up with that, that I've now been able to see, okay, this is why I'm feeling stuck. Yeah, and definitely, you could go back and do some shadow work too on yourself. You can do some shadow work and acknowledge. You can go back as far as you can remember. And as far back as you can remember, you can journal it out and write it out. And even even in an automatic writing way. I know that just kind of from your experience, and allow your higher self to kind of drop in to help navigate and move some of that energy out, and allow that to have a voice. And all of that energy can shift. Also, if you missed the beginning of this video, it is eclipse season, and the planets and things are just kind of moving in alignment with, relating to each individual person. They're on their own journey, and things that are coming up in the next few weeks, or you may have even felt it the last week or so. Okay, you did miss it. So yeah, just anything that you're feeling from last week into this week and the next few weeks. So today is the day of like the lunar eclipse, and I'm not a huge on astrology, but I do know that these are transformational periods, that a lot of subconscious energy can come up in this time. So there's a lot of things that maybe we didn't know was really bothering us, or that things that we're doing and creating patterns and we don't really know like what is it. Now a lot of that is coming up more to our awareness. So when you feel uncomfortable the next few weeks, if you're feeling uncomfortable in anything, if you're like, hey, I don't um it's coming up again. Oh, I thought I worked through this, but this is coming up again. Or people, places, situations reappear again. Um, there's a lot of there's a lot of things where make note. Maybe you can't work on all of it at the same time, but make note as things come up, because these are the opportunities where if you don't know why you're stuck, these are things that may come up, and these are going to probably be your first this can be an opportunity for your first go-to on okay, I don't know where to start. This is where you can start. These are the things, the eclipses can bring up endings and new beginnings. So I was saying in the beginning, in the last eclipse, that evening was the eclipse. The next day, the lunar eclipse, my corporate job ended. So endings and then beginnings, right? And then with the endings were all of the subconsciously connected to opportunities to healing whatever needed to go with that ending, so that I could beautifully create these new beginnings from new mindsets. So this is a very good point in time to really, really hold that in and really see what's coming up. So hopefully that resonates. So many good comments. Thank you for participating. I'm going to move some energy here. I'm going to do a little bit of sound healing. And got my bowl here. So we're going to move some energy. So I am feeling some of the energy here. Okay. Perfect. All right. So just close your eyes with me. And just focus on that heart space. Start to bring your awareness back to the room. Come on back. So you guys were feeling that. Just doing a little bit of Akashic Enlightenment Harmonic Resonance. And yeah, as you guys are watching, feel free to follow my pages, subscribe to my channels. I'm looking to grow my YouTube presence, so if you're not subscribed there, give that a follow there. Like I said, I have a couple different giveaways going on, or I have a giveaway going on with a couple cool attunements or Akashic Enlightenment readings and healings. So check that out. That ends Friday. I also do, I do Akashic Enlightenment readings and healings. I do, that works with a lot of what was kind of coming through, right? So if people are feeling, seeing things come back around again, feeling blocked, wanting to know, like, connect to their soul path and kind of like their actions to get there, feel free to, those are very powerful, can help move through that energy. I also do attunements. So coming up here on Friday, we're doing group attunements for their angelic unity consciousness attunements. And so there's so much angelic presence that is around. There's so much, it's all energy, right? It's how we're seeing it and how it's mirroring in our world. And this came to me while I was at Mount Shasta back in August. I was there for actually Lionsgate on a retreat, and I was going into my Akashic, and the Seraphim had came and visited me. And so there are higher consciousness, angelic beings that, right, you have like archangels and like the Seraphim. And so these attunements are connected to our angelic lifetimes, our essence there. If that feels called to you, right? You know, everyone's different, but it really helps us to release kind of what's in that way of connecting to our true selves. We will be tapping in and connecting to higher consciousnesses. So within up to a 9th density of consciousness, and that will be what's coming through for the healing, because they're attunements and they're healing as well. So and then we'll also be learning from an energetic state how to hold a higher consciousness, how to hold up to 7th density consciousness. And so with that, what we're doing is we're really kind of like building and gridding and blossoming this light grid is already within us, right? All of this all within us already, and it's just activating that DNA and allowing us to be able to kind of look at and express whatever we are, you know, what we came here to do, connecting to that true self. So that starts on Friday. They act as 5 healings. In addition, there are attunements, but there are group attunements. So feel free to check that out. That's pretty reasonable. I'm looking to do more group stuff so that people who feel aligned to that event or whatever that is, it'll be more right, it'll be more affordable, but you get everything the same as if it was personal one-on-one. The other thing is that if you can't make all the lives or any of the lives, everything will be recorded. So the resonance and the vibration, the frequency and the healing will be held in the recording. So you can replay at your leisure as well. But if you do join live, it'll be cool. We have some people joining where, you know, you can give your own experience, and sometimes it opens a group discussion. So I do other attunements as well. The Aqualorian Light attunements. So the Aqualorians are our 9th density interdimensional being group. And so this, the way that I explain how I felt after getting these attunements myself was I I would feel more like I'm riding the wave than kind of resisting the wave. So anything that kind of comes that doesn't feel like it's in alignment, and I wouldn't know every aspect of what's in alignment and not for me at the time, but as it was coming, I would feel more of like, okay, it's going to be okay. And I would feel myself kind of be more consciously aware of it in the moment and really allow myself to then redirect to alignment, allow myself to step into that higher self and step into this higher awareness. So, it's what I have felt. I felt the energy and information shared in the sessions that I do work with other people. Not, am also tuned to aquamarine crystalline aquamarine crystalline healing, and so that's working with the aqualorians to channel that energy through. So they are different, but I can definitely feel the attunements helping me with the sessions that I do. And that's because I feel more connected. I feel like I've released more. I feel like I've stepped into that higher vibration as I kind of ride the wave, and I allow that to just channel in, that feeling to channel into the sessions as well. So depending if you're a practitioner or not, or any to do the attunements, they could just be stepping into, who you are. So feel free to shoot me a note if you have any questions. And let me pull up so my website is myawakeningwithin.com. Check that out if you have any further questions on that. I have other online events soon, but I will be live here again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So feel free to come back on. I have different topics and maybe doing messages as well. So come back on and join the fun, and don't forget to enter my giveaway. So we'll see you soon.